All right, this one's from TheEradicator, and this is titled Star Citizen Top 5 and Flop 5 of 2022. So the top 5 best things that happened in 2022 and the 5 worst things that happened in 2022 in the Eradicator's opinion. So let's see. What do we got, Erad? A bit loud.
Here's a name I can say from the Eradicator.
Holy intro.
Live stream, right? Hello guys, welcome to the channel of The Eradicator, and in this video I want to talk about my top 5 and also top 5 flops of Star Citizen for 2022. Now, things were achieved in 2022 and also things have been disappointing. So here we go, we're gonna start first with my top 5, and the number 1 is persistent entity streaming that we're experiencing right now in 3.8.
This is like debatable whether or not you can add this to a top 5 because not everybody can experience it. It's not live, but I also consider it part of what they delivered in 2023. But again, it's also kind of hard to experience in 2022, excuse me, but it's also kind of hard to experience. But I think you can get the pass on this one a little bit, as long as he... I don't know. Let's see what he says.
18. I think it's just quite an accomplishment that's been years in the making, but it is working. When the servers do not crash in Star Citizen 3.18, it is possible indeed to retrieve items that we might have dropped or left for quite some time. Sphinx X40 is following. Thank you so much, Sphinx X40, for the follow. Yes, we're also doing that live on Twitch too. So, and of course, you guys know that persistent entity streaming is a requirement for server meshing, so it's wonderful that we're getting this out of the door. We're not out there yet. Chris Roberts did mention in the letter to the chairman that he wants to strengthen persistent entity streaming to then release server meshing throughout the year of 2023, but still it is done, it is working, and that's already something very satisfying. Next,
is it done? That's debatable to say, I think.
The next top here. Hello, Axis.
Again, I consider it a top, but yeah.
How's it going? The next top that I would like to talk about here are the $100 million in terms of revenue from the backers. That is also quite an achievement, and
okay.
And we've seen here for the second consecutive year in a row that Cloud Imperium Games have earned money.
We made $100 million.
In 2021, Cloud Imperium Games did not lose money. They made a profit, even though their expenditures have increased quite a bit. And it's really great to see that it's going to be happening again in 2022, probably, with that record funding here of, again, over $100 million in terms of revenue, compared to $86 million last year. Very impressive indeed. The next stuff that I'd like to talk about are the dynamic events, because we've had quite a lot of them again this year, including Jumptown 2.0, but also the Siege of Orison. And it's been wonderful to see those dynamic events actually working and being...
That's an interesting take for me. Top 5 of the year. The first 3, persistent entity streaming is a debatable one. Funding, I thought it would have been all in-game stuff, so if I was making a top 5, I would have ignored the funding, because I don't think that matters as much to us. But this one, I really wanted to enjoy Siege, but I didn't as much. The way people sped run it, and yeah, it kind of ruined it for me. But Jumptown was a lot of fun. Would that be on my top 5, like my Mount Rushmore for 2022? Yeah, probably.
Being quite effective and fun at the same time.
More because of Jumptown.
Have enjoyed. playing those dynamic events, especially now that
They've really
there are
improved
over 100
Jump Town
players
with
per servers. It's definitely something that feels
adding
more
certain
dynamic than when there were only
vehicles.
50 people. And overall, I think that in 2022, dynamic
100
events
players.
were quite a success here. Next, the next top I'd like to talk about is actually the update of Squadron 42 that we had during SeasonCon. We haven't heard of Squadron 42
I would have a very
for
different
a very
list.
long time, but Chris Roberts actually talked for a very lengthy presentation of Squadron 42 over 2 hours. It was actually quite insane. And we even had some footage, because people complain, oh, we never see Squadron 42. We had over 20 minutes of footage during that presentation from Chris Roberts. So, and of course, they did not talk really about the story, but more of the mechanics and all the work that's being done in Squadron 42 that would then get into the persistent universe. But nevertheless, still is a Squadron 42 update. I wish that we could have a little bit more.
I think showing a couple of locations, like the inside of this hangar, is interesting. We saw a asteroid station type thing, but a lot of the footage was not Super Squadron 42 related. Yeah, a lot of it was spent at Osiedo Station, which we've already seen. This might even be a hangar inside that station. Okay. Yeah. You know, I'm going to say, I mean, for me personally at CitizenCon, this would have been part of my flop 5 because it was super drawn out. It was 2 hours of just babble when we had this really great put together CitizenCon and then this mindless like babble at the end. So yeah, like that part of CitizenCon would have been my flop 5. The first beginning part of Star Citizen would have been in my top 5, or CitizenCon would have been in my top 5. I thought that was super well done. And they did a great job with that. Production value super high and just straight to the point, giving it kind of, these are the things we're working towards right now.
But at the same time, if we could have like one time during the year a big presentation with that much footage, I think that's quite okay. Last top of 2022, in my opinion, has been planetary navigation. Now NPCs are able to navigate on planetary surfaces, and that's just going to be opening the gates to a lot of different gameplays with NPCs going by.
Guys, you said opening the gates. We're opening the floodgates. But I agree on this one. This one would have 100% been in my top 5. Because even though the AI are not great, and they're probably not going to be great, knowing that, you know, most likely we're not going to see server meshing or any real server side tick rate improvements that much in 2023. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. These NPCs are probably going to still stand there and just, you know, make it easy for us. It does open the door for the future. Like really, really does. Yeah, like the Cutlass landing, it's already starting to feel cooler and more alive, and it should only get better as the years go on in terms of the ability to make the game feel more alive. Whether it will be perfect, I think we kind of know 2023 is probably not going to be the year for that, but I agree with this one 100%. This would have been on my list.
Their business and just doing stuff, you know, landing zones, planets, trading, getting out of their ships to trade.
Inventory
or maybe
system
do
was
some
in 2021.
It's just something very exciting.
End of 2021.
So these are my top 5 positives for Star Citizen in 2022. Now, not everything has been great in 2022, unfortunately, and these are my top 5.
Before he goes into the flops, my top 5 would be 100 players per server, nav mesh, it's getting a little hard now. 100 players per server, nav mesh. I think if we're going to take some 318 features, the move all button and actually actioning some feedback, and the Montreal studio really kind of coming into their own. Nav mesh is what allows NPCs to walk on a planet's surface. And then I just need one more. One more. I think that dynamic events maybe would be a very loose one more at the end. Or if we're going to use some 318 features, I think the plan of putting some crafting into the game would be my top. I don't like that 2 of my top 5 are in 318 because they haven't delivered it to everybody, and I don't think that's fair. Now let's hear his flops.
2022, and I think that the biggest drawback I think that we had in 2022 was that we only had one patch, which was 3.17. Still, right now, as I'm making this video, we're still in 3.17.4.
CR, Discolando, many others still continue to say that 3.17.2 should have been a bigger patch. It was a major patch. That's for me, that's copium, and that makes it even worse. That, like, just respect us a little bit more. It was one patch. It wasn't a good year. Just own it. In terms of, like, patch delivery, just own it. It wasn't the best year. Hey, guys, we would have loved to do more, but... And that's it. It's okay. You know, I think a lot of us were kind of prepared for a year like this. Maybe not this bad, but 3.17.2 was a good patch, but I think that they're copium huffing a little bit on that one.
So, and it's understandable, you know. We've been waiting for 3.18 and Persistent Entity Stream for quite some time. We're supposed to be coming at at least we're supposed to be in the PTU by the end of this, by the second quarter of last year, and released in the third quarter of last year. It did not happen. It's still not officially released yet, and that's a problem, right? So that's
a flop.
That's my second flop, delays. Yeah. Which, again, I'm totally fine. I know it's an alpha, guys, and we don't need to repeat that, right? But still, nevertheless,
Eradicator, did you know Star Citizen is an alpha? And you don't understand game development, okay?
To see, you know, some of the features and expectations that we could eventually build. Of course, it's our fault. When we're building expectations, we should perhaps not. I don't know if it's our fault or not, actually. You guys let me know in the comment section down below if I'm being too nice. But still, nevertheless, delays are always a bummer. And I just want to play Pyro, you know? I just want to go and have server meshing and see the game evolve. But, you know, it is what it is. We're going to have to wait, unfortunately.
I don't care if we get Pyro necessarily, but I do want to see the game evolve for sure.
Until the end of 2023, perhaps 2024, likely 2024 for Pyro and server meshing. So it's a bummer, and that's why it makes it into the list of flops. Next is just the overall feeling for the project. It just feels like 2.6, Alpha 2.6 all over again. I don't know if you guys were around there when we had Alpha 2.6, but
this is kind of interesting because he's added 3 flops, but they're all the same thing. We got one patch, delays, and it feels like 2.6 all over again, which was the delay, the 1 year wait for 3.0. This is all one flop to me, and I'm sure we can find 4 others.
It's just that. You know, it felt like nothing was happening, and it just feels like this is the case all over again.
So here's what I would I think I can kind of take his feelings and turn it into another flop. Is their communication, the road to Pyro. What made it feel like a flop is kind of that they sort of strung you along a little bit, made you feel like, hey, maybe Pyro by the end of the year, and oh yeah, a year, it's a year out, and you know, right at the end there, the second letter or the first letter from the chairman, hey, we're gonna do things differently, didn't really do them differently. I would definitely go with their communication. It has been a flop. I think they're trying to do better, but they're still not great and are still spinning the bad situation we're in at the moment as much as possible, and it's all about that user acquisition game. They don't care about Eradicator. They don't care about me. I don't know how much Erad is still spending on the game, but I certainly am just going through the, the store credit. New ship came out. I don't really use this one anymore. Let me get rid of it and use my store credit on that thing so I can show it off to my community or whatever. So yeah, I think maybe you can use it on that. It does feel somewhat like 2.6 because they were very quiet as well for a while. And then even the way they communicated was like the burn down. The road to 4.0 is very similar to the burn down to 3.0 days. So that's where I think we could take what he's saying and say communication, maybe.
It's a very weird feeling that, like, we see Star Citizen being worked on, we see some progress.
SCL
but,
every week
it
is
also
a
feels
game
like
dev
it's not
hour that
there's not
isn't
much
going into the
happening,
game, so it's
right?
literally
And,
a wasted
it's
hour
very
for that developer.
It feels very slow because we're waiting for those two big patches, which were 3.18, which is almost there, and then 4.0. Next, the next flop over there that I'd like to talk about is are the previously hyped features that have gone missing. Guys, we've been told about the Banu Merchantman, right? We've had so many segments in Inside Star Citizen about the Banu Merchantman. Where
I think you can call that a flop, but I mean, this is one thing where you just like kind of have to be realistic. They were, you know what? That would be one of my tops. They came out and said, yo, we lost some people that were working on the Banu Merchantman. We can't just throw somebody else on it. It's going to take time, and we think that the people that we have in the company now, or any new people, yeah, it just wouldn't be good. I thought they were like super open about that situation. The flop was first hyping it up, says Marcus in chat. I don't think they thought these guys were gonna leave, and then they left. Like, what are they supposed to do? What are they supposed to do? That's like one of the ones where, like, yeah, I mean, this is real life, right? Like, the real people work on these things, and sometimes they leave company. Leave the company, and I think that they really believed that everybody was going to work this through, see it out, and then bang, two people left, and like, what are you going to do? I mean, give higher wages. It could be wages. It could be been like a culture thing at the office. That's not up. That doesn't matter to us necessarily, which is why Erad's like, yo, man, I wanted my Banu Merchantman. But I think we got to be realistic here too. What the heck?
Where is it? It's nowhere to be seen, and in fact, it's probably not in development anymore, and that is a bummer already.
It is a bummer.
So yeah, it looks like the Banu Merchantman is perhaps not even coming to Star Citizen next year because
I think what he's showing on screen is way worse. So right behind me is Tony Z. Right, I'll move my camera. This is somebody I've been very frustrated with in 2022 because, going back to that communication issue, there has been zero communication around these 2-year-old, maybe 3-year-old presentations.
The economy first. I mean, I can understand that, but at the same time, when you've been buying a ship 10 years ago and you were being told that your ship is not being worked anymore, you see your ship being worked in Inside Star Citizen, you're very excited, and then it's not being worked anymore, right? Not really excited. Axis in the chat says he doesn't want to be started on the BMM, right? It's definitely a flop for 2022, I think. Next, the other thing that's been hyped and has gone missing are passenger missions. Where are they? We've seen them in CitizenCon 2020. They were on the roadmap. They're gone missing.
2019, right?
Disappeared.
Yeah.
And that's also a bummer in my opinion, because I really don't know what prevents passenger missions from being a thing right now. And I really would like to know why it's not a priority, what has been the blocker, but unfortunately...
Have you seen the Star Citizen AI? I mean, let me guess. Okay. Well, we have a nav mesh, which is one of your top 5, and then the Cutlass lands, and then what tends to happen to those NPCs? They don't even leave the ship. And to still believe that Citizen Con isn't completely faked is hilarious to me. After 2019 Citizen Con, where an NPC left the ship, that had to have been faked.
Unfortunately,
At this
communication
point,
has not
how
been,
can we not believe that?
has not been made about that. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And finally, the
That's
last
how the
thing
NPC
that's
is,
missing
servers,
was
exactly.
Quantum. The last time we've heard of Tony Zurek was again in CitizenCon 2020. Sorry, 2021, my bad. And last year, no Tony Zurek, no update
No
on
Tony
Quantum.
Z last year.
The last update on Quantum that we've had were the combat beacons that appear randomly based.
But you did hear Tony. So this is one of the funny things, I think. He put dynamic events in his top 5. Tony Z is very much involved in the dynamic events. So Tony Z did an update. So you can't really put Tony Z in your top 5. I'm kind of coming to this realization now, because when I said my top 5, I might have said Jumptown. But it's hard to put Tony Z in your top 5 if you really wanted them to prioritize Quanta and Economy, because they took dynamic events and did that first, which, as Newt says in chat, dynamic events are how you visualize Quanta, probably is why it makes sense to do those things first, right? You do the dynamic events, you tie Quanta into it, and then they happen organically. For me, dynamic events were kind of cool, but the fact that they're not dynamic and Quanta doesn't turn them on is a bit of a flop for 2022, and is a big hope of mine for 2023.
Based on criminality, I guess, criminality levels and how things are safe. But that's about it.
Salvage wrecks, all those things.
I wish that there was a little bit more.
after
and
big
I'd like to know what the devs are working on right now. It's just not something that seems to be moving. So that's another flop. Now, finally, my last flop for 2022 has been Cloud Imperial game. I mean, some staff. Now, I would not say Cloud Imperial game as a whole, but some staff at Cloud Imperial Games. Some staff at Cloud Imperial Games patronizing other players, and I think that was just not cool.
Was the Roadmap Watchers in 2022 or 2021? Was that end of 2021 or was that 2022? I thought that was 2021. I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, that was horrendous. This was absolute.
Telling us that we should not be making noise during the roadmap update in February last year. I think that was the biggest disaster in terms of PR.
Oh, that was February last year. Okay.
Sometimes inside
that's right. We watched
Star Citizen,
Space Tomato video.
we're being blamed for not enjoying some segments, but we're not the ones who make the choice. We're not the ones who make the we're not the ones who make the editorial choice for Inside Star Citizen. So if there are moments or episodes or segments that we don't like, we shouldn't be blamed. Taste is not something that should be that should be discussed or liked, and I really did not appreciate that in particular. But anyway, guys, that is all for this.
I think you should just back more. Personally, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, knowing now that was, I completely forgot that was in February. This year's been so long; that felt like 2 years ago. The Roadmap Watchers thing. Honestly, the changing the roadmap would be in one of my top 5s. Maybe I would take dynamic events out and put in the way they changed the roadmap. I think it set expectations really well, but the way they communicated it, again, communication, absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And it got better. Each letter for the chairman, I think, got a little bit better, and their communication got a little bit better. But they started the year off with a really loud bang, and it was bad.
Video, but let me know in the comment section down below, guys, what are your pluses and the minuses and
Here,
flops.
let me link the video to you guys so
to,
you can leave a comment down below.
When it comes to Star Citizen, I'd like to know in the comment section down below. Also, guys, we've got a giveaway this month.
Giveaway.
First, a Nova tank. This is for everybody out there on YouTube who subscribes to the YouTube channel and answer the giveaway question I'm asking in each video. So for you guys, what have been your flops and tops for 2022? Well, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, on Discord, we have our video sharing contest where we also have another giveaway. And over there, we are giving away a vulture. This is the vulture that I gave away last month, but it was not claimed, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
So that's why I'm giving away.
Good for someone else in this community.
Back. All you have to do is to join our video sharing contest, and you can also become a Patreon or a YouTube member for automatic access. Guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been the Eradicator, and I'll see you guys later.
Thank you, Eradicator. Yeah, I think it was holy man. Going back, I still can't believe that was in February, the roadmap thing. But I think I shared what my flops were, what my tops were, and yeah. So it was an interesting year to say the least. But thank you for that. That was a really fun video, going kind of back down memory lane a little bit, as well as starting to think about what I really enjoyed versus what I really didn't. And I think we'll have some more fun tops, and hopefully not as many flops in 2023. I think it's just going to be a little bit boring in 2023, and that might be the flop. And I assume the communication will still be trash. So top 5 and bottom 5.